the Italian Football Podcast.
Let's talk about the Derby d'Italia. It's the big game this Sunday between Inter and Juventus at San Siro, 1800 local time CET, and it's it's a huge game in the fight for the Scudetto. Inter come into the match in. Sorry,
I thought. Is it being played at 6? I thought it was being played at 9. I thought it was a night game. Oh, look at that.
No.
Yeah, well, that's good to know because then I would have missed it. Thank you, thank you for saying that.
Would you have missed it? Why would you?
No, because I wasn't. I didn't. I thought it was going to be the.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was at 8:45 p.m. as it always is. For me, Inter and Juve play on an 8:45 on Sunday always. Like that's when they play.
Yeah. I don't know why they've done it there. This Fiorentina Roma is the late game on Sunday. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but anyway, I mean, Inter come into this game in excellent form. 5 straight wins since the defeat to Milan in the derby just over a month ago, and they come obviously that 1-0 win against Young Boys, 93rd minute winner from Thuram. Juventus come into the game off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Stuttgart, where they're completely outplayed, battered. Let's be honest, and they only just lost though. 92nd minute winner for Stuttgart, but not a very good performance at all by Juve. But still unbeaten in Serie A. Only 1 goal conceded in Serie A, and 1 point behind Inter in the table. So this is a massive match for the title race. Also because Napoli are top of the table. They are 2 points ahead of Inter and 3 points ahead of Juventus. So whoever drops points, I mean, Napoli have quite an easy fixture, don't they? This weekend, is it Lecce at home? Is it this weekend for Napoli? It's whoever drops points in this game are potentially, if Juventus drop points, they'll be 5 or 6 points behind Napoli, and if Inter drop points, they'll be 4 or 5 points behind Napoli, and with Antonio Conte as the manager, it's a long way back. So big game for the title race. In terms of injuries and suspensions, Inter are not at full strength. They're going to be probably almost certainly without Acerbi and Çalhanoğlu from their first team players.
And
Carlos Augusto, who wouldn't have started, but he's out as well. And as you said earlier on in the show,
question marks surrounding Fratesi too, who had an ice pack to his leg as well. But Inter are saying that it shouldn't be worried. People shouldn't worry because blah blah blah. But
yeah. So that's Inter. Juventus though are completely decimated. They're without multiple players, and they're without Bremer, of course, season over with an ACL injury. And then in midfield, Coop Miners is almost certainly out. Douglas Luiz is, we're recording this on Thursday, is doubtful, but we'll see because he pulled out of the warm-up of the match against Stuttgart. So that's to be confirmed. We'll see there. Nico Gonzalez is definitely out. He won't return for another 10 days at least. Milik is out as well, hasn't played at all this season. So I mean, Juventus are not in good shape. Probable teams. This is what I have down for the Inter probable team, and you can tell me if I'm incorrect here. Sommer in goal, 3-5-2 formation. Pavard, Di Vrij, Bastoni as the 3 centre defenders. Darmian coming in at right wing back. Fratesi, if pass fit, Barella and Mkhitaryan as the 3 centre mids. Di Marco as a left wing back. Lautaro, Martinez and Thuram as the attackers. Is that what you think?
No, I think Zielinski is going to start. No, I think Zielinski, Mkhitaryan and Barella are going to play, or potentially Aslani as well. Aslani, Barella.
So you don't see Fratesi starting?
No, I don't think he'll start him this game. I don't think he wants to risk him. I think he needs Fratesi's energy later on in the game, when that pays off, when players are tired and he comes on fresh and his dynamism can hurt. I don't think he starts. But I think most of that is probably right. I mean, there's talk of Aslani, he's had some fitness issues, but he needs to start showing who he is if he is to stay at Inter, if he is worthy of staying at Inter. I wonder if Inzaghi takes that risk. But Barella, and Zielinski, they're talking about Zielinski could perhaps be the regista, play Mkhitaryan to the left, Barella to the right. I think that's what he's going to go with. I think at that point, I think Zielinski has shown that he deserves more playing time, and he warrants it. And when you're depleted, and when you have problems in midfield with 3 players, 1 out, 2 semi-injured, you need to give more chances to those who know how to play, have experience from big games. And Zielinski and Mkhitaryan and Barella certainly fit that bill, all 3 of them. So no, I think it's, but the ballottaggio is between them, whether it's Zielinski or Aslani. And it would be interesting to see Zielinski in the Regia role. I think he would suit that really well. But I mean, Barella, we know, does everything well. So it's not, he can play any position in midfield and he'll do so well. We know that. But I would like to have Barella on the right of the midfield 3, because what he offers, and especially with Darmian next to him, because when he's got Darmian next to him and he's got Pavard behind him, he can unlock them in a way that you can't when you've got Dumfries there. And when he's playing centrally, no one else can offer that. But I mean, it's a very fluid midfield. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much what the attack is going to be. Or sorry,
that's the Inter. Okay. As for Juventus 4-3-3, we're probably looking at, or 4-2-3-1, however you want to look, what you want to see it. The defence, well, Di Gregorio will be back in goal after his suspension in Champions League, although some would say, how the hell can you get rid of Perin after that performance? Then the defence will be difficult one. I mean, at the moment, we're looking at Savona right back, Gatti and Kalulu at centre back, Cambiasso at left back, but Savona's been on really, really bad form. So I don't know whether Motta looks at that and thinks, is there a way that we can change that around? Maybe put Cambiasso at right back and Cabal at left back. That could be something that he could consider. I don't know. He doesn't really have many options. I mean, Danilo, after his red card, and he's been bad all season when he has played. I don't think you would trust him. So at the moment, we're probably looking at, he's forced to play Savona at right back, and then Gatti, Kalulu, and Cambiasso. In midfield, we're looking at the moment, if we take like the 3 central midfielders, we're looking at McKennie. Excuse me, sneeze, good timing. McKennie, bless him, Locatelli and Thuram. But the ballottaggio, again, the main ballottaggio for Juventus will be, Locatelli will definitely start. And then the ballottaggio will be Fagioli. Will he play instead of one of McKennie or Thuram? So it's basically going to be Locatelli plus 2 of McKennie, Thuram, and Fagioli. That's what it's going to be. So
I think it's going to be
that's the question mark.
I think it's going to be Locatelli. I think it's going to be Thuram, and I think it's going to be McKennie. Because I think Thiago Motta wants to neutralize Inter's midfield and he wants intensity. And McKennie is good, if anything, he's good at chasing the life out of his opponents. He's a difficult. He always causes problems for Inter when Juve and Inter play because of his dynamism. And Locatelli is a very dynamic player.
That's that. And then the attack picks itself because Juventus have no other options. So it will be Yildiz on the left, Conceição on the right, and Vlahovic up front. They have no one else. So that's that. I mean, Juventus don't go into this game with many options, unfortunately, and they have nothing on the bench as well. They've got no attackers on the bench to bring on. They might have one midfielder that can come on and kind of change things. And it's earlier on in the week, I was kind of more hopeful that if I'm talking from the Juventus point of view, that Juventus could come here and get a draw. But now I'm looking at the physical condition of the team in the last 2 games. Even against Lazio, I thought physically Juventus didn't look particularly great, but they weren't tested because certainly going the other way because Lazio were down to 10 men for pretty much the whole game. But physically, I think Juventus are going into this game really not in very good shape, and they look tired. And because they've got so few options, hardly any of these players have been able to be rested or rotated, and they just have no one. They have no bench to kind of change the game. So yeah, I've gone from being kind of hopeful that a draw to now being kind of like, well, I think any Juventus fan takes a draw right now in this game. So yeah,
I think this is a difficult game to preview.
Difficult.
I think it's a very difficult game to preview because on the one hand you have a Juventus who are very solid defensively in the Serie A, but we saw against Stuttgart that they were anything but. You have an Inter who are yet to concede a goal in the Champions League, setting a new club record for the first time. Opening 3 Champions League games, they haven't conceded a goal, whilst having problems in the Serie A. But of course, the last game against Roma, they showed improvement. But it's also an Inter who feel they don't. This is not the same Inter as last year. There's no fluidity about them. The preseason work rate, they're still recovering from that. Lots of injuries. They look sluggish. They rely more on individual brilliance to resolve games more than systematically resolving them like they did throughout all of last season, or at least in the beginning part of it.
Agree with that.
So, and then you have a Juventus who are also structurally sound defensively, but they also, there are patterns of play going forward, but it's still not really 100%. I think it's a very, very difficult game to analyze. I think draw that's pretty much where I am with this. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends in a goalless draw, where basically they look at this and go, match day 9, okay, Napoli can go 4 or 5 points ahead of us, that's fine. Let's not give too much away. We can make up 4 or 5 points with 29, 30 games. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this kind of typical kind of calculation that they just,
I would have predicted the draw a few days ago, or even before the Lazio game. I would have predicted the draw, but now having seen Juventus physically, their shape and the options as well, because of so many injuries, I think it's going to be difficult for Juventus. And I think if I'm Inter, I look at Juventus being there for the taking, like physically, and I go for the win. I absolutely go for the win in this game. I don't settle for a draw. Juventus's hope, I think, is that if we ignore the last game against Stuttgart, is that generally this season they've always controlled the games, and the hope is that Thiago Motta's kind of patterns of play they can refine that and try and control this game, in which case they won't be so vulnerable. And that is probably my biggest criticism of Inter so far this season, is I've never felt, following on from what you've said, I've never felt like they've really been controlling games in the midfield. No. I actually think the midfield has maybe been the weakest area of Inter's team this season. They don't seem to have been controlling the games. So my hope, from the Juventus point of view, is that if Motta can, even though Juventus are clearly vulnerable physically, if they can try and control this game in the middle of the pitch, then that way they can be in this game and maybe at least get a draw. So I think that's what Juventus have got to try and hope for in this match.
I think I've seen some reports suggesting that Koop Meiners and Gonzalez could be back as well, but I mean it's we will see, we'll know on Sunday. But
Gonzalez definitely is out. Koop Meiners, there's a very slim chance that maybe they could put him a protective cast around his ribs and his chest to protect him. I don't know how possible that is, or whether they play the long game and they say, look, you know what, we don't want to risk losing him for a long time, so we'll leave him out. But yeah. Even if he does play, he's going to be playing unfit, basically.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. Well, I still think I look at this and I feel like there's question marks around both of them, and that's what makes this game so difficult to preview. I think tactically and from a
whatever happens, Nima, there's going to be one winner. There's one guaranteed winner out of this game. Whatever happens.
Oh, there's Napoli
in this match. That's Napoli.
Yeah,
Napoli
for sure.
Winning. Napoli big winners. Whatever happens.
I want to caveat that.
They would love a draw, but
yeah. No. I want to caveat that potentially only one winner, because Napoli have got to do the job against Lecce at home, and we saw against Empoli that they're not that maybe this initial traditional Conte buzz is wearing off, and they're going into that period where it's not, they might struggle. That always happens
Possibly.
when you're 8-9 games deep into Conte tenure in the beginning, but because Conte's teams really kick into gear from like November, December onwards, don't they? Usually, like December onward, January. Yeah. But we'll see. So potentially,
but we also saw Lecce. We also saw Lecce concede 6 goals. Fiorentina and
Lecce are a mess. Lecce are a mess. That's true. I mean, they are playing. They are playing the ideal opponent, who are in an absolute mess, Lecce. But we'll see. But yeah, potentially now there's only one winner in this Napoli for sure.